Tonight, Africa's digital voices are uniting for a stronger global narrative. Leaders are pushing for jobs and finance reforms and key developments. Let us start with Africa's digital voices unite for stronger global narrative. Ahead of a much-awaited African Social Media Influencers Summit, ASMIS, draws closer, a stakeholders consultative meeting has set the tone, positioning the event as a strategic continental platform aimed at uniting Africa's digital voices towards strengthened storytelling power and elevated influence in digital landscape. The Pulse of Africa and AGATEC joined forces towards realizing the worldwide event of ASMIS a reality as the Africa's diplomatic city of Addis Ababa gears up for receiving the continent's digitally influential voices. Accordingly, POA and AGATEC led the precursor consultation, bringing together key stakeholders to discuss preparation and collaborative support for the successful realization of the summit, scheduled for May 7 to 8 at the Adwa Victory Memorial Museum in Addis Ababa. Organizers emphasized that the summit is designed to go beyond this conventional gathering, positioning itself as a long-term platform for collaboration among influencers, media institutions, policymakers, and private sector actors across Africa and the diaspora. Deputy CEO of Pulse of Africa, Fitsume Shimilis, underscored that Africa's digital transformation presents a historic opportunity to reshape global perceptions. He noted that social media has evolved into a potent arena for creation, the shaping, and dissemination of narratives, rendering the voices of Africans indispensable in shaping the global perception of the continent. Fitzgerald said the ASMIS 2026 will help amplify authentic African stories, empower digital creators, and strengthen the continent's ability to communicate its realities, achievements, and aspirations on a global scale. Manager of AGATEC Enterprise, Gemeda Olana, highlighted the growing momentum behind the initiative, noting strong interest demonstrated by influencers across Africa to partake the event. He explained that the summit is focused on promoting responsible digital influence while building a strong and sustainable creator ecosystem. He further stated that the summit aims to enhance collaboration among stakeholders, improve content quality, and support the development of a competitive digital economy driven by innovation and creativity. At the consultative meeting, participants discussed the issue of partnerships, coordination, communication, strategic leadership, and resource mobilization in detail, as well as the roles of the stakeholders playing in contributing to the success of the upcoming summit. The discussions underscored the importance of collective effort in ensuring ASMIS 2026 delivers meaningful and lasting impact. Ultimately, ASMIS 2026 is being framed as a transformative initiative, one that unites Africa's digital voices, strengthens storytelling capacity, and positions the continent as a more influential and active player in the global digital space. A strong call for urgent and coordinated action to tackle Africa's job crisis has been delivered by Selma Malika Adadi at the high-level ministerial gathering held during the 2026 World Bank Spring meetings. Addressing ministers, governors, and global partners, the African Union Commission, AUC, Deputy Chairperson stressed that job creation across the continent is no longer a theoretical policy debate, but a pressing economic and stability priority. Speaking on behalf of the African Union Commission, she underscored the urgency of translating Africa's demographic growth into meaningful economic opportunity. Africa's greatest asset is its people, Adadi said, emphasizing that the continent's youthful population can only become a driver of prosperity if governments and partners create the right conditions for employment, particularly better paying and more productive jobs of women and young people. Her remarks came in response to a report presented by the World Bank Group under the leadership of Ajay Banga, which places job creation at the center of development policy. The AUC welcomed the report's core message that sustainable employment requires deliberate, large-scale investment and reform. Adadi outlined the key priorities for African economies, including investment in infrastructure, especially digital public infrastructure skills development, strong institutions, regulatory certainty, and expanded access to finance. She highlighted the critical role of the private sector in driving growth, innovation, and large-scale job creation. However, the deputy chairperson delivered a candid critique of the global system, arguing that the current multilateral framework has fallen short in supporting Africa's transformation. She noted that financing and development support have often been fragmented, reactive, and insufficiently aligned with the continent's long-term priorities. Despite these challenges, Adadi pointed to emerging opportunities. Initiatives such as Agenda 2063 and the African Continental Free Trade Area demonstrate Africa's growing institutional capacity and political will. Across the continent, governments are implementing reforms aimed at boosting competitiveness, strengthening policies, environment, and expanding employment opportunities. She also highlighted the evolving partnership between the African Union and the World Bank, which increasingly links job creation to broader sectors such as energy, trade, industrialization, and financial inclusion.
Are you a consumer or a trader or a manufacturer? Where will you be on Monday the 2nd? Save the date. The Made in Ethiopia Expo 2026 opens its doors, your one-stop marketplace for everything industrial, innovative, and proudly local. Discover textiles and leathers, cutting-edge chemicals, precision metalworks, construction tech, and tomorrow's electronics, all under one roof. From raw inputs to finished goods, you will find it all. Taste the delicious local flavors, join lively discussions, forums, cheer at product competitions, and connect with local and international manufacturers. Promote your brand, meet buyers, source where your business needs, or shop for your home. It's opportunity in motion. Join us on May the 2nd to 6th, 2026 at the Addis International Convention Center. Register to exhibit or just come and explore. Don't miss out. Organized by the Ministry of Industry for Universal Sovereignty, Made in Ethiopia.
Welcome back, viewers. You are still watching Pulse of Africa News live from Addis Ababa. Our story continues. From global finance to diplomacy, Ethiopia is pushing for unified BRICS visions. Ethiopia has called for stronger coordination and a unified policy direction within BRICS as it deepens its engagement in the bloc, with officials emphasizing the strategic importance of research, dialogue, and people-to-people cooperation. Opening the third BRICS Think Tank Council, BTTC, Ethiopia Conference, Ambassador Minilik Alemu, Social Policy Advisor to Foreign Affairs Minister, underscored the significance of the forum in shaping collective understanding and aligning policy positions ahead of the upcoming BRICS summit. He noted that recommendations from the BTTC serve as critical inputs into key outcome documents, including the summit declaration. Ethiopia's accession to BRICS in 2024 was described as a major milestone in its long-standing commitment to multilateral diplomacy.
Ethiopia's BRICS membership is a key milestone in its long history of multilateral diplomacy. It is a mirror reflection of Ethiopia's commitment to a reinvigorated multilateral system and to South-South cooperation. Ethiopia's BRICS membership embodies its foreign policy priority of diversifying its partnerships and tapping into economic opportunities in development finance, technology transfer, and trade. Ethiopia's BRICS membership opens a window of immense opportunities, which requires active participation to translate opportunities into economic fortunes. For Ethiopia, engagement within BRICS processes is of strategic importance.
Ambassador Minilik highlighted that the country's membership reflects its foreign policy priorities, particularly strengthening South-South cooperation and expanding partnerships in development, finance, technology, transfer, and trade. Since joining the bloc, Ethiopia has taken sustained and concrete steps to actively participate in BRICS initiatives, the ambassador said, adding that the country aims to consolidate its role further during India's 2026 BRICS presidency. He pointed to Ethiopia's recent admission in the new development bank as a key achievement, noting that it will significantly improve access to infrastructure financing and enhance the country's role in BRICS-led economic cooperation.
Ethiopia has admitted to the new development bank. This milestone will significantly enhance our access to development finance for infrastructure development in our country and strengthen our participation in BRICS-led economic cooperation. Ethiopian institutions have forged closer ties with their BRICS counterparts, and we have made tangible contributions to the BRICS voice on matters of global importance for Ethiopia and the African continent as a whole.
Beyond government engagement, Ambassador Minilik emphasized the importance of the people-to-people pillar of BRICS cooperation, which involves think tanks, civil society, media, business communities, academia, and cultural sectors. He noted that Ethiopian institutions have already begun forging stronger ties with their counterparts across BRICS countries, contributing to policy dialogue and academic collaboration. The ambassador also highlighted the growing role of research and expert dialogue in shaping Ethiopia's engagement within BRICS. Platforms such as academic forums and think tank exchanges were described as essential in producing evidence-based policy recommendations that reflect diverse national experiences.
Allow me to underscore the importance of the BRICS academic forum's recommendations. These deliberations, enriched by contributions from scholars, policy experts, and research institutions across BRICS countries, are crucial to shaping well-grounded, balanced, forward-looking policy guidance. Such consultative processes ensure that recommendations are grounded in rigorous analysis, diverse national experiences, and practical realities. They provide a solid, evidence-based intellectual foundation that enhances the credibility, relevance, and effectiveness of BRICS cooperation in addressing complex global challenges.
Ambassador Minilik further called attention to the need for effective communication strategies to promote BRICS engagement and manage public expectations. He noted that institutions such as the BRICS Business Council, think tanks, and media organizations must take a leading role in communicating Ethiopia's priorities both domestically and internationally. The two-day conference is organized by the Ethiopian Institute of Foreign Affairs in collaboration with Bahida University. In Southern Africa, Zimbabwe and Botswana strengthened bilateral ties. Presidents Emmerson Mnangagwa and Duma Boko have witnessed the signing of a wide-ranging package of agreements and memoranda of understanding (MOUs) at the 5th session of the Zimbabwe-Botswana Binational Commission, marking a significant step in strengthening bilateral relations between the two neighboring countries. The agreements span key sectors including security, trade, aviation, and social development, reflecting a deepening of cooperation between Zimbabwe and Botswana. Among the major outcomes was the adoption of the agreed minutes of the 5th session, setting the framework for enhanced collaboration across multiple sectors. In the area of security, the two nations signed an agreement on defense cooperation and training exchange programs, alongside an MOU on police cooperation, targeting livestock theft and other cross-border crimes, a persistent challenge in border communities. Further strengthening security and governance collaboration, the countries concluded MOUs on immigration cooperation, prisons and correctional services, and a memorandum of agreement on the transfer of sentenced persons. In aviation, the two sides signed an agreement for the coordination of aeronautical search and rescue services, as well as an MOU on cooperation in civil aircraft accident and serious incident investigations. Moves aim at improving safety and response coordination in the region. Economic cooperation also featured prominently in the cultural sector. The countries agreed to collaborate in the development of the Museum of African Liberation, a flagship heritage project aimed at preserving the continent's liberation history. The agreements underscore a shared commitment by Harare and Gaborone to deepen integration in hands across the border and unlock economic opportunities for their citizens. The Binational Commission serves as a key platform for the two countries to review progress and chart new areas of collaboration, with this latest session delivering one of the most comprehensive sets of agreements in recent years. Shifting to this hour's business news, the Malawian government is considering borrowing $120 million from the African Export-Import Bank to procure fuel as the country grapples with acute foreign exchange shortages, a senior official said on Tuesday. Minister of Information and Communications Technology, Shadrik Namalomba, who is also the government spokesperson, told local media that the country's fuel reserves are completely dry as the conflict in the Middle East has disrupted global oil supplies and the Malawian government has no foreign exchange to pay importance for petroleum products. He said the much-needed $120 million will cater for the procurement of 120 million liters of fuel, a volume he said will help ease the situation in the country. Long queues of vehicles have become a common sight in filling stations across the country, with residents expecting the fuel to become fully available. On April 1st, the Malawi Energy Regulatory Authority hiked the fuel prices by an average of 35%, saying the Middle East conflict had pushed prices for petrol and diesel for very high levels. On Monday, during the opening of the 2026 tobacco marketing season, Minister of Agriculture, Irrigation and Water Development, Rosa Mbilizi, said the Malawian government is counting on the tobacco market to generate more foreign exchange and strengthen the country's import cover. Meanwhile, in the DRC, new plans aim to curb dollar use. In the Democratic Republic of the Congo, where the US dollar dominates daily transactions, Central Bank Governor Andre Wameso has outlined a plan to restrict the use of cash dollars starting April 2027. The measure presented during the IMF and World Bank spring meeting in Washington is part of a broader effort to regain control over money circulating outside the formal financial system, Congolese authorities said. A significant share of this currency, he added, flows into neighboring countries, making it difficult to track. The policy is part of a broader strategy to align with international standards and remove the country from the Financial Action Task Force, AFAT. Gray list, remaining on the list of jurisdictions under increased monitoring affects the country's financial credibility and access to global banking networks. Dollar-denominated bank accounts will remain allowed, but payments are expected to shift gradually toward electronic channels. Authorities plan a one-year transition period along with a possible amnesty to encourage individuals and businesses to deposit cash holdings into the banking system. With this move, the DRC joins countries such as Tanzania and Zambia, which have recently tightened rules on the use of foreign currencies in domestic transactions. The central bank has recently introduced new measures, including 6-month bonds and partnership with Visa and MasterCard to modernize payment systems. Despite ongoing conflict in the eastern part of the country involving M23 rebels, financial markets have shown cautious optimism. The DRC recently issued its first Eurobond, raising $1.25 billion.
Are you ready? Every effort, every drop of sweat, proof of determination, a path to victory. Join the Grand Street race hosted by the Ministry of Industry and the Ethiopian Athletics Federation, where industry meets endurance and opportunities are born with every stride. On April 26, Mescal Square will become the heart of movement. Over 800 professional athletes and more than 17,000 runners will race together in the Made in Ethiopia Expo 2026, a celebration of health, unity, and national resilience. This is more than a race. It's a chance to connect manufacturers, raw material suppliers, athletes, and citizens, opening new doors for collaboration and growth. Prizes are grand, the spirit is greater. Space is limited, so register now at the Ethiopian Athletics Federation around Gurdishola, organized by the Ministry of Industry in partnership with the Ethiopian Athletics Federation. Run for your health, run for our future, Ethiopia for universal sovereignty.
And finally, sport news. A high-level meeting is currently underway between officials from the Confederation of African Football, CAF, and representatives of the Pamoja host nations, preparing for the TotalEnergies CAF Africa Cup of Nations 2027. The Pamoja delegation, representing the joint host Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda, includes senior government ministers alongside key football leadership figures. The CAF delegation is being led by Acting General Secretary Samson Adamu, who is spearheading discussions focused on preparations for 2027 tournament. The meeting is expected to address key organizational aspects, including infrastructure development, development, logistics, hosting standards, and intergovernmental coordination among the 3 East African nations. This engagement marks another important step in the collaborative effort under the Pamoja Initiative, a unified hosting model aimed at delivering a successful and historic edition of Africa's premier football competition. With multiple countries co-hosting, CAF is placing strong emphasis on coordination, readiness, and compliance with tournament requirements well ahead of the kickoff. Now let us look at the weather forecast across the continent. That wraps up this hour's Pulse of Africa News. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, like and follow our Facebook page, and for the latest headlines, follow us on TikTok. Don't miss our weekly program, POA In Depth. I am Adele. Thank you for joining us.